questions will never finish. Because my own experience is when I used to ask many questions, that every question I put, when the answer came, it led to another question. So questions multiply, but we must get our questions answered. If we don't have our questions answered, those questions linger in our head and they become an obstacle to meditation. You have to be sufficiently convinced, both mentally, intellectually, that it's worthwhile doing what we are doing. It's not enough that we are seeking. The mind can sway us away. Mind will always create doubts. Mind is a creator of doubt and fear. And if we rely on the mind, we live a life of doubt and fear. When we use the mind as our servant, a machine, a computer, working for us, whatever we like to put thoughts into the mind, we direct the mind to do this. Mind becomes our servant. And our soul, our consciousness becomes the master. But so long as we listen to the mind to decide things, it will cause doubt and confusion. I have seen people come to me and they say, I'm very certain about this. I say, let's think about it a little more. And then they're not so certain. It's the nature of the mind to create a doubt, because the mind cannot see everything. The mind can see so little. And mind relies for its working only on the principle of logic. It uses deductive logic and inductive logic. And when it uses deductive logic is limited to explaining something that is already known. Deductive logic, those who have studied logic and philosophy, you know, it says if this wall is painted grey, that this is part of the wall, therefore it is grey. When we do it from the beginning, just explaining something. Inductive logic leaves a sense of uncertainty. Inductive logic says, if this wall is painted grey and it turns around, that must also be grey. It relies on the law of probability. The law of probability works very well. Otherwise, all these casinos wouldn't make money. They make money based on two mathematical laws, which is also logical laws. The law of probability. If it is like this, it must happen like this onward also. We make predictions based on the trends. So these are the only two methods. When you look at the operation of the mind, you will see it is very limited resources. It has got very limited access to information. Its data is always limited, and we are working within that data. As soon as something comes from outside the data, the mind feels, oh, I couldn't think of it. Oh, I didn't know that. And all your argument of yesterday falls. So that is why the mind, if the mind is questioning too much and doesn't want to take a next step till the answers are coming, you could be spending your whole life in asking questions. Reminds me of a story we tell in India. In India, in the villages, there are many wells, and not all of them have a parapet or a wall around them. They are flat with the ground. At night, people are very careful not to fall into a well. One intellectual philosopher from the town was visiting the village, and he, by chance, fell into the well. And fortunately for him, the well was not very deep. He was in the water, and he was crying, oh, how did I fall into the well? A man heard, a passer-by villager passed, and he heard somebody moaning and groaning in the well. He stopped there. He said, don't worry, I'll bring a rope and take you out. He said, before you bring the rope, tell me why I fell in the well. He said, I don't know. You were walking, you probably fell, but don't you want to come out first and then ask me how you fell and look around? No, I must get proof. Secondly, supposing you bring the rope, how will I be sure you will bring the rope? And supposing you do bring the rope and lower it inside the well, how can I be sure you'll pull me out? First, answer all my questions. He said, look, I am doing this just to bring you out. I realize that you are moaning and groaning here. You don't like it in the well. I am trying to help you. No, but you have to first convince me. Supposing you bring a rope and halfway when I am climbing up, you drop me again. How can I be sure? He said, I think you better stay in the well. I'll go home. Some of us, when we have to go into an area unknown to us at this time, unaware of it, like going into an area where when we close our eyes, it's all dark, and we don't see anything. When we open our eyes, at least we see this world. Then we are asking questions, and we can ask so many questions. Some people spend their lifetime asking questions. I personally spent only 8 years. They're pretty bad, I think. All my teenage years were spent in asking questions, because I was a skeptic. I said, I'm just following a path because my father followed it, because my environment was like this. Had I been born in a Christian family, I would be going to church. And because of that, I went to church. I said, let me see how would I feel if I were born in a Christian family. Got baptized in a Catholic church. Got a dip in the water. And went to other places. A student with me in college said, no, Islam is the only real teaching. I said, I didn't know that. I didn't read the Quran, but I can. He took me to the mosque. I got converted. I said, I'll try everything. But all the questions, I said, unless my questions are answered, I can't believe that this is a true path because I have no experience. And unless these basic questions are answered, how did I fall into this? How did it happen? What's the purpose of life? How do I get answers to this? How can I rely on people telling me? How do I know? All kind of skeptic questions of a skeptic person like me. And then I tried all those things till yesterday. Although I had read the Quran, English translation long ago, when I got a message from a Muslim seeker from a Middle Eastern country yesterday, he says, Subhanallah, Shukr Allah, what you are saying are the core teachings of the Quran. I was shocked. When Christians say what you are teaching is in the Bible. I said, that is true. Hindus say all the Vedantic literature says the same thing. I realize all religions say the same thing. We have made them different. We have put so many ceremonies, rituals, other belief systems outside of ourselves and make them all different. Instead of uniting into a common thing that the truth lies inside, no matter what name you give it. Instead of doing that, we are dividing. Religion has divided us and not joined us together in unity. Every religion says we are all children of the same God. But maybe God doesn't like some children, only likes a few that belong to that particular religion. There are so many things that came up. I myself didn't want to believe anything unless I saw it. I still hold on to that view. I do not believe in blind faith of any kind. There must be some evidence. If somebody says, take one step, and then you will see the next, I'm willing to do that. I'm not going to take a blind leap somewhere where I have no idea at all where I'm going. I recommend the same thing to all of you. That in true spiritual path, there is no scope for blind faith. Blind faith is where somebody tells you something, you start blindly believing it. Yeah, it is there. Why? Somebody told me. You have no backup for that. You have no personal experiential backup for that. That's blind faith. Blind faith remains the same. Somebody said God is sitting up there, and I'm looking up, everybody looking up. I'll say, oh, everybody looking must be there. Blind faith. Instead of blind faith, have living faith, which lives like you live. Like you grow, faith should grow in the same way. Every day there should be an experience. Every day there should be something that adds to what you've known and say, yeah, now I can see one step more, one step more. That's living faith. Like we are alive, faith should be alive. I recommend that. I follow that. I don't suggest that anybody should have blind faith. But I do say, as my master said, that the questions that the mind asks should always be answered. And unless the questions are answered to the point where the mind says, okay, let's try it out, that's good enough. So I welcome the questions, and now we'll set apart a few minutes for questions, and then after that we'll go to the practical side of how verifying if the answers are right or not, which is more important. You would like to ask a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ishwar Puri. My question, I've asked a few people, and I guess a few from this crowd and maybe a few from outside. The question is around love and being told by your master, and by the way, I'm initiated by a different master, and I'm hoping I can get an answer from you. because my master is so far away. The question is that I got initiated about a year ago, but the question is that I don't seem to have a pull from my master. And the other thing you were talking about love earlier today, some people I've talked to here and elsewhere too, it's like almost when they see a master, they're immediately pulled. They have a connection with the master. Whereas others, like you say, could meditate 30 years, that connection is not there. I mean, is there different forms of love, or am I on a different level of it? Or, like, I don't see an immediate connection.
Thank you very much for this good question. Yes, there is a difference in the way we define love. We are ourselves defining love differently. Love for a child is different. Love for the mother is different. Love for teacher is different. Love for property is different. Lustful love is different. Sex is different love. We have defined love in so many categories, and therefore we have put love into so many categories we don't know which one we are talking about. When it comes to love for the master, it is a true, pure spiritual love. The mind has no role in it at all. If the mind has to think, am I in love or not, it's not love. If the mind has to verify, is it love or not, it's a pure attachment. It's just like saying, I love you. Do you love me? You say, well, I don't. Well, okay, then I also hate you. Or, what have you done for me lately? I loved you so much. We make songs of these things. Love that is based upon an awareness of two people is not true love. A love where a person says, I love my master and I want to see if he has real that pull for me or not, has not experienced love yet. When love is experienced, the first thing that happens is that you begin to forget your own self. The mind, the area that is carrying your awareness is filled up with the beloved so much. You begin to think of the beloved so much that for a moment you don't know who are you, but you know who the beloved is. That's the first sign that there is a true love being experienced, even for a human being. It's not only for a master, for any love. Any love to be true puts the beloved first. Also, when you say, I love somebody, it's an egoistic function of the mind. Because I is so strong, ego is so strong. When you fall in love, you don't think like that I love you. Somebody is pulling you with love. There's a Persian couplet which appeals to me a lot. We describe this. Ishq, which means love. Ishq awwal dar dile mashuk paida mein shavad. Which means love is first born in the heart of the beloved. If there's no pull, there's no love. So, love has been described as something in which you feel so identified with the beloved that you don't think too much of yourself. Otherwise, all activities that we are doing in life are based upon our ego. I did this, I tried that, I love so and so. That's all ego game, or mental game of the ego. But really, you fall in love with somebody, you think of the beloved. That thought, I do this thing, start to disappear. So remember, this is one sign. Secondly, if the love has to come, it has to come from the beloved, from a master. You can't say, I found a master, I'm going to love him now. It doesn't work like that. If you say there is no pull, then the master's role is different than the role of taking you to your Sachkhand. Such a master's role is to give you teachings, instructions, take you part of the way, understanding intellectually, and then prepare you to be seen later on by a master who will pull you. Always happens like that. It's happened with so many people. I've had so many experiences with people who said, we are a succession of masters. There used to be a lady who used to come from New Jersey, and she said, every master I meet, I get initiated. Maybe one of them will be right. She was taking no chances. So she said, I don't care what he is, one of them should be all right. I used to call her the much initiated woman. Later on, when my friendship circle was very small, where the circle became a bigger one, I found that there were so many people like that, including Mark, who is doing this recording. He says he has been to so many masters. initiated. So people have gone through the process. Even otherwise, our whole approach to spiritual realization comes through a series of teachers and series of masters. The first master that you come across is your own mother. Your mother is the first influence where you are born. She becomes your first master. Then there is a little role of the father, but more of the mother out of parents. But then you go to school teacher becomes a teacher. He puts ideas into your head. He puts a lot of things into your head. He puts language into your head. Then later on you go to a religion. They are classified into religion. When you are in religion, religion tells you things and conditions your mind for something more. Then you find none of these work. If you find none of these work, who is saying none of these work? Not the mind. Because the mind is following anything that's being taught. Then something in you says, this is not working, and this is not true, this is not what I wanted. That's the soul seeking inside. Then you come across spiritual masters. Spiritual masters take you to different levels up to where they have gone. No master can take you beyond where he has gone. But the way they will describe their experience is like they have reached Sachkhand, the true home. Because in these levels of creation, levels of our consciousness that is creating here, each level looks like final. Right now this world looks like final. You go to the astral plane, that looks like the ultimate. And there are so many expanded experiences in that area that each one looks like it is final. It's our Sachkhand, our true home. A master who has gone there will say, I am taking you to complete enlightenment. There are lots of masters like that. Then there are masters who go beyond that. They say, no, the mind still functions as an individuated function. In the astral plane, even in hell and heaven, you all individuals. Your consciousness is individuated. It's higher up. They take you to the second stage, the causal stage, Trikuti. They take you to the top of three worlds, where all destinies originate, where one single mind becomes universal mind. And knowing the mind and soul being the same, those masters say, that's universal mind, you have reached the top. They don't distinguish between soul and mind. They think they're the same thing, it's the self. Then there are some masters, very, very few, who have gone beyond the mind. And those who have gone beyond the mind realize that the mind was merely an attachment to consciousness. It's a conscious self using a mind. And their mind is not the self. They take you above, and they are called Sadhgurus, and they are called masters. They're listed amongst perfect living masters because they take you out of the mind's realm of reincarnation and so on. But then, still fewer. At one time, no more than the fingers of our hands. There are masters in this world for seekers who want to seek beyond that. They say, we don't even want that. We want the totality, total. And those few masters, perfect living masters, whom we call Satgurus, Sant Satgurus, they are the ones who take us beyond Parbrahm, beyond the individuated state of the soul, into totality and discover everything was only one. Master, student, world, everything you see is only one consciousness. The whole show is taking place in that consciousness. So there are so many masters. They take you through these phases and they satisfy each part separately. For example, there are masters in the psychic realm. They have got some psychic powers and they can use power of suggestion to fulfill some of your worldly desires. They are also masters, and because they can give you, they can say, okay, tomorrow you'll get a rise in your promotion, you'll get, your son will pass exam, and it does. So it must be a real true master, performing miracles. Those masters are satisfying something that's external experience of yours in this world. But those masters are only confined to physical experiences. Then there are masters who give you higher experiences. So as we come across these masters, we grow with it. Our seeking, even if the seeking is for the ultimate, we go through this process and see so many masters. But the master who ultimately pulls us, he may follow any of the rules of these others to draw your mind to the point where you're ready to go. But ultimately, the pull is of pure love. And the love pulls us in such a way that all the mind's doubts cannot overcome it. That you can try as hard as you like. No, I don't want to believe it. No, I don't want to believe it. I don't know why I want to go and see him. I can't convince myself yet. I haven't seen anything inside, but I want to go and see. It's something so different. The mind's doubts, fears, and compulsions don't stop a person at that stage. And that comes finally. When that happens, of course, you not only have experience of higher realms, but eventually that master becomes your permanent friend forever and stays with you forever. You go within and you see. After you have seen him and had a contact with him for a while, what we call the radiant form of the master, you can see him outside also at any time. You're driving your car and you can just turn with your corner of the eye and see master sitting there next to you while you're driving. I mean, it becomes so visible at all levels, not only inner level. That's the experience we will have, the perfect living master. So if you find a master, like you say in your question, but you don't feel the pull, keep on seeking. Keep on seeking. If you're a seeker beyond that point, you will find. Or rather, the master will find you. He will pull you.
Can I just elaborate a little bit more? Just add a little bit more?
Hmm?
Does it have anything to do with the fact that maybe in previous life forms I was not initiated, or guys that have been previously initiated, they get a stronger pull? Anything of that nature to do with it?
Yes, it does. It does. Supposing a master, a perfect living master, initiates you, and you are not following up with the physical directions he gives here. You do not meditate, you don't do these things. But the pull is there, the love is there, he can bring you back again. And then you will have a stronger pull without knowing how. And that's because of a previous initiation in a previous life. There are people who from childhood feel that pull, and they don't know why they're having that feeling, and it's from the previous life. There are some people who very quickly make progress in meditation itself, and also because of previous life's initiation. There are some stages in meditation when you find out all these things for yourself. When you go inside and you can see previous lives, it gives you the whole pattern how it happened. And that's not very far. The previous lives can be seen. Some lives can be seen even at the astral plane. A total, complete experience, how it was designed, can be seen at the causal plane. These are all mental planes. So you don't have to go into true spiritual regions to get this kind of knowledge. But that knowledge which you get personally is far more convincing than any testimony outside. So my recommendation is, please test it out yourself. Practice yourself no matter what. No matter how long it takes. No matter how much attention you give. Incidentally, the time you take is not dependent. Merely, I did so many hours of meditation. No. That the quality of time is important. That means how focused was your attention on going within. It's the attention and its power of concentration at one point. That is the only good thing that works through meditation and takes us everywhere. The yoga I practice, which I found more useful than other yogas, is called the Surt Shabd Yoga. Surt is attention, Shabd is sound. If you put your attention on the sound of consciousness, not any other sound, if you put your attention on the sound that emanates from yourself, not anywhere else, then you are pulled by that sound as much as externally we are pulled by the love of a master. The sound in meditation pulls us the same way and makes the progress very easy. If you are initiated by a perfect living master in a past life, you could be hearing sound now, even before initiation. You could be pulled inward even before initiation, and you wonder how I could hear the sound before I got initiated. No, you got it after initiation. It just happened to be in a past life. So all these lives work together. When a master looks at us, he does not look at our external form. He looks at the entire pattern of our prarabdha and our previous lives. So he knows that you made this progress, you are now at this stage. Now you're ready. And depending upon the age in which we are born and living here, his selection becomes more liberal. Okay, you are ready. You're not completely ready, but almost ready. All right, we'll accept you and make you ready in the next little time, within this lifetime. So that's, these things I am sharing from the Handbook of Masters, so I'm not supposed to. Anyway, a man wrote to me, I have met many masters. How do I know which one is the real one? I said, the one who pulls you. He said, there are two perfect living masters. I said, whoever pulls you more. He said, both pull me equally. Now, how do I decide? I said, here, I see thousands of people waiting to get a perfect living master. You're very lucky you got two. Follow any? No, automatically it will happen that you will go where your soul is seeking, and the one who is come to take you. Now, this is from these disciples' point of view. That how do we look for this? What about the master's point of view? How does the master do his work? The master is a human being like us. He's just an ordinary human being like us, except his awareness is different. We have a potential awareness. He has an imminent awareness. He knows what's all going on. So he does not come here to save the universe for all time. He comes as a human being with a lifespan like us, like disciples. Therefore, he comes with a limited role. The same power becomes a limited role for a master. And he carries with him two lists, called list A and list B. These are lists of marked souls. Marked souls are those who have been seeking. And they were seeking even before they came down into physical plane. So the marked souls, list A means he has to take them back in this very lifetime. Even if they were initiated by another master in a previous life on whose list they were on list B, he'll take you on list A. List B is those who will come, get initiated, but the master will take them back, will be later or in a future life. So these masters come with a specific task, and they will go anywhere where those souls are. They'll travel anywhere where the souls are. They will make sure those souls come. And they will initiate them, become their permanent friends, and take them back home, traveling together. They don't send souls, just go, we are telling you the method and now go. Many lower masters do that for early period of growth in spirituality. But real spiritual path, you travel together. A little part, very small part of the journey to our total enlightenment, which we appear to be going alone, because we can't see the master. And that is when we are in a physical body and get initiated, and master says, I am now sitting inside you, go and find me. That's a little hide and seek game. A little master hiding inside you. You feel he's there, but you can't see him. So then he says, come up there, I'll tell you where I'm hiding. I know that's not big hiding, if he's telling us where he's hiding. He says, come up behind the eyes in your own self and leave these 9 doors and go and knock at the 10th door, which you can easily knock by putting your attention on the center of the head where I'm hiding. I mean, that's giving the location. What kind of hide and seek is that? And we still play hide and seek. We still want to find where the center of our own head. Do you know how many people have had trouble finding the center of their own head? They're sitting in consciousness in the physical body. They know this is the head. They know when they close their eyes where the ears are, where the head is, where the throat is. They know everything. They know the total anatomy of this body. And yet when they have to find where the center, they roam around in the darkness. You know why they roam around? It's very interesting. They roam around because when they think they are looking inside the head, they are looking in the darkness right in front of them. Now that sometimes people haven't explained. How do you look behind the eyes? And I'll be trying to explain that when we do meditation. But if you close your eyes and see the darkness, that darkness is not inside. Nor are we trying to see with any inner eye. That darkness is just outside because you close your eyes. If you open your eyes, then things are all right. If you close your eyes, it's dark. You have not gone anywhere inside the head. You are right in front of the eyes. And there's a simple test I give people, that if they want to know, are they really inside the head or outside, I tell them that if I ask you to touch your eyes with your hands, like this, even eyes closed, You won't touch anywhere else, you touch your eyes. Because you know where they are. The external eyes. Okay, touch your eyes. Okay, fine. Now, close your eyes and say you are sitting inside the head. And most people, they make a little image of themselves. And they see the image, that's me sitting there, inside the middle of the head. Then I say, now raise your hands and touch your eyes. When they do that, boy, when they reach there, that little fellow sitting is outside. You just cross them. So we make images just in front, outside, and try to see with these eyes. Some people try to roll their eyes as if it is something to do anything with physical eyes at all. On the other hand, if I tell you that you imagine that you are sitting on top of this building, you can imagine you're sitting on top of the building. You can see the floor, roof of the building, see that. Nothing to do with his eyes. How did you sit on top of the building? With imagination. Pure imagination. Imagination being drawn not from these five senses, imagination being drawn from your astral self. Therefore, when we have to meditate that we are inside the head, it's not a physical exercise. It's an exercise where we have to imagine we are inside. Use the same power of imagination and imagine this body, this shell is a house. So when I proceed with the meditation session with you, I'll explain a little more. But remember, these teachings, being so natural, are known to very few because we are so absorbed in external activity, in trying to find happiness, joy, bliss outside. We are so preoccupied with life outside. We take it as the only reality, there's nothing else. Even atheists, those who don't believe in God and are totally absorbed, they sometimes have a feeling there's something coming in. I met an atheist and he was very happy. He said, "Thank God I'm an atheist." I said, "Very good. Are you thanking somebody for your current state?" So there is something in us that tells us there is more. There's more than what we are seeing. There's more than what we can know here. Something is telling us, but we don't know how to find it, how to practice it. I think it's very lucky that so many of us have found teachers of that type, masters of that type, who can not only tell us some detail, verbally tell us how to do exercises, do meditational exercises, and go within and check these things out, but can actually become our friends and travel with us so that we don't have to make any journey in darkness. So that's the role of perfect living masters when they come for us. They come for those on their list. They pick up those souls and take them. Many others follow. There is a saying, many are called, but few are chosen, which only refers to this, that they affect many people who in due course become disciples of perfect living masters, maybe in future lives. But those who are chosen go with them in this very life. A little distinction. Anyway, any other question? Or shall we start meditation? No questions. Okay. If any questions come, I'll try to answer them telepathically. So many people hear telepathic answers. Sometimes they don't know what they are. Meditation, as I was explaining now, is the art available to us of withdrawing our attention from an experience in the outside world into experiences of what lies within us. It's a technique. It's a technique of withdrawing attention within ourselves. It's not easy. It's simple, but not easy. It's not easy because from childhood, from the time of birth till today, till we die, we are trained to put attention outside. We are asked to look outside. When a child is born, a baby, little infant, newborn baby. I've seen newborn babies look at you as if they are seeing much more than we can see. See, newborn infants, intuitively, as if they are in thought, like when a person gets in thought, look somewhere, that expression on them. And we dangle little rattle, oh, see what our rattle is, trying to draw their attention out and pull them out from there, then we are out for the rest of our life. We have learnt with great skill how to put our attention out from inside the head to outside things, through sense perceptions and so on. We never learnt how to withdraw attention, reverse it. We know how to focus attention. We don't know how to withdraw attention. To focus attention, you have to have another object on which you focus attention. In withdrawing attention, you're withdrawing to yourself. Two things are very different. Now in meditation, to be successful, you don't focus attention, you withdraw attention. Withdraw where? To the very point from where it's coming, from the self. When you close your eyes, which I will ask you to do so shortly, when you close your eyes, you see thoughts coming, other images coming because of those thoughts. They are all taking your attention to so many things outside. They're constantly taking you outside because of thinking process. Can you figure out where are these thoughts coming from? Can you figure out where are you alive from? Can you figure out where are you as the self from which all this is happening? Can you figure out that if you're just a point, where are you? If you try to explore that, where am I? You will be pulling back yourself to the point from where notionally, right now, your soul is operating. Your life force is operating. It's in the head. Technically, I could describe that it's in the center of the brain and it's hanging where the medulla oblongata and the pineal gland and the pituitary body hang. It's very close to that point. But that's no use. It's outside knowledge. What you experience inside is that can you feel where you are actually sitting? Now, there are many techniques to do that. First point is think that this is not you. This is not your body, but your house. You live in it. This house has many floors. I'm dividing them by floors because the energy centers that operate in us really divide into different parts of the body if you explore it with your attention. You put your attention in different parts of the body and they function like different floors. This would be the sixth floor on that case. You are living in a house shaped like a body. The top floor, sixth floor, is right here behind the eyes. And it's a floor behind the eyes. And you are sitting somewhere in the center. And you are conscious that you are sitting in the head, in the center. And you notice, where are you? You find the two eyeballs looking out are in front of you. Your ears are on either side of you. Your head of the house is on top of you. The strange kind of shape, nose shape is in front, little below you, throat is below you. This is the house, shape of the house, and you are in the center. If you can figure out where you are, we are ready to meditate. So first step, let's take the first step. Close your eyes. Now you can't move your body after this when you start because then the house will crumble, it's crack. So let's do the meditation that it's a real house. It has floors. You're sitting on the sixth floor, behind the eyes, and aware of whatever is happening inside that room. You can look around. You can turn right, left, front, above. See the ceiling of the house, of the sixth floor. You can bang your feet on the floor of the sixth floor. You can stand up there. You can sit down there. You can take a chair. You can take a cushion. You have so many options now. But do it where you are. Don't make an image of yourself. Do it exactly where you are. And no other thought except what is around you in the sixth floor room of yours. No other thought, please. Nothing else except where am I? And what is happening in this house of mine? What is happening on the sixth floor? Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. How many of you could actually do this, what I was telling? Need more practice for some of you. This is starting point. Supposing you can't do this, and you say, I'm doing meditation, won't lead you anywhere. One has to remember that the journey, spiritual journey, starts from that point. Otherwise, you are sitting in the body, your awareness is of this physical body, this physical reality, you know where the hall is, where the building is, where the people are, who's sitting next to me, sitting elsewhere. You're all here. You can sit for hours and not start meditation. To start effective meditation, you have to start from there. Great Master explained this point several times. And I came in 1962 to this country, United States first time, Canada that time, and people said, you talk of starting there, nobody told us. It's not in the books. I said, do you have any book? Oh, we have your master's book. It's called Spiritual Answers, something like this. The letters he wrote to Americans. Spiritual Gems, the title of the book. I said, can you lend me a copy? Because before I came to this country, to North America, I never read any book. I started reading books here to answer questions. So when they gave me the book, I read it and pointed out 16 places in that book where he says you should start only after you are sure you are at the third eye center. This is so important. Otherwise, our awareness does not pull in. On the other hand, now you might have noticed, many of you, when you start from there, a lot of pull is already coming in because that's the starting point, and when you put your attention there, other things start happening from there. So that is why this part is very important for doing it. Let's do it again, one more time, and with more attention on the self being there, that we are there, with the same eyes which we use when we imagine things, not the eyes, physical eyes which we look at things, eyes which imagine things. You can imagine you are there. A great master once, I was mistaken about this for some years after initiation. Then I went to him once and I said that I don't know how to imagine I am there. When I imagine, I just imagine another figure. I think that is me. He said, that's not you, that's a figure. Then I said, where am I? You are the one looking at that image. Now you try to recall, the image was imaginary. And you were looking at it from the reality. You were the looker. You were looking at the image. So be that looker. Put attention on that who is looking, not at that which you are looking at. And he explained another way. He said, raise your finger right up here. He says, now imagine you're sitting on top of that finger. He said, there's nothing happened with these eyes. Can you imagine? I said, yes. I just imagine I'm on top of the figure. I feel I've been lifted up and gone there. Now bring it down like this. Now you're still there? Yes. Put it here, jump in. So jumped in. So, and many techniques, but it's essential to know that we are dealing with our consciousness. We are dealing with the unit of consciousness that has created everything and has to find its origin inside. So when you want to do this exercise, then do not look at an object. Say, you are the object in that body. You are the object in this house. You are sitting up there. And you can look around anywhere. Now, if you want to say, can you look on the right without bending your head? Yes, by imagination I can. So can you. So it's the ability of consciousness to assume that imaginary form which is sitting inside, that is the starting point for meditation. Let's try again. Close your eyes. Now imagine you are there. Imagine you are sitting in the center of the head. You will notice many things. Head is expanding. It's a much bigger place than you thought. In the body, this place is so small. Inside is so big. You can make it as big as you like. In the body, you are in a hall. Inside, you could be in open sky. You can see the sky above you. You can see so many things by imagination. There's a different place where you are. So go there and stay there for a while. Ask, where am I? What am I doing here? My body I see is around me. Most of it is below me. I am sitting up there. What am I doing here? What have I been doing all this while here? Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. When you go into deep meditations like this, sometimes you'll feel that your body, physical body, needs to be awakened like this. So you can rub your hands and your face. Any questions on what we have been doing? Do you know what takes you out? Thoughts. Right? Next session we'll do meditation where we control those thoughts. So you can stay there.
Thank you.
Okay? One question at the back. One does go to sleep also. If somebody has a problem sleeping, try meditation. You don't need a pill. I'll tell you, in Wisconsin, we were having a meditation session. I was conducting it like this. And I was tired that day, I must confess. But after a while, I felt I was snoring. I opened my eyes. Everybody was staring. I fell asleep. I was trying to make other people keep awake, and I was sleeping. I had to twist it around and say, you know how meditation makes you go to sleep, and I'm a role model for you. The tendency to sleep increases during meditation. And I'll tell you the reason why. The reason is that when we think or when we feel that we are behind the eyes, it's a wakeful state. We don't feel like this at any other state. Just now we feel that we are in the body, if we are just one unit, we have to be behind the eyes, we open our eyes and see the world. So our notional self, our notional conscious self is the eye level at this time. When you go to sleep, it drops, slowly drops. It drops down here. When you're dreaming, it's in the throat center. It's never here. You can't dream. When you have a vivid dream, you're totally over here. There are some yogis who practice the art of keeping some awake while dropping their attention to go to the lower centers. They go rapidly, first of all, to the lower center, then they come up by the spine. They go by the spine, they come up by the different chakras. And to hold on to that, only some yogis are able to do, and I worked with them. Those yogis are able to keep half awake, half in that state, so they should be conscious that this is a practice going on, but I'm there, and they notice that the consciousness drops. But for non-yogis, I believe you're all non-yogis, I'll tell you another method of testing this out. Tonight, when you're going to sleep, just half sleepy in bed. You know how to touch your eyes. When you're half sleepy, try to touch your eyes. You'll try to touch your eyes, you'll touch your nose and think they're eyes. Anybody can try it out. What happened? Because in the wakeful state, you operate from the eyes, and when you're sleeping, the notional situation, notional position drops, and before it can drop to dream state, it can still be felt it's somewhere around the face. And very often people say, I'm touching my eyes and touch the nose, and they feel these are the eyes. If you could, like that yogi, feel that in a sleep dream state, you can still feel you are awake in a body and also dreaming. In the body, you know where it's sleeping and you are awake. If you can do that, which is very few people do it, if you touch your eyes, you'll touch your throat and feel you're touching your physical eyes. Which means that when we say that our notional point of this physical body, our consciousness is operating from behind the eyes, it's only the wakeful state. When you go to higher states, it moves inside at different points. When you go to sleep, it drops down to this throat center. The dream-like states comes from throat center. So that is why when you're trying to do meditation, the tendency for the attention to drop. When I say soul and all that, it's your attention really. What is it in your consciousness, in your awareness, that you can move around. You can't change the room, you can't change anything, it's all fixed. What you can do is to change your attention. You can put an attention this side or that side, up, above, below, in or out. The only available part of consciousness which we can actually work on is attention. Consciousness, the term consciousness, is a very wide term as used in the spiritual journeys and spiritual path. Consciousness includes all that can ever be conscious, of which consciousness can be conscious of. It's completely undefined, it's big. Then a smaller part of consciousness is awareness. We are aware of some things. We are conscious of the whole world, aware of some of it. Right now, we are conscious of the whole universe because we heard about it in our memory, elsewhere, in our subconscious. All over, we have some knowledge of that hidden. Awareness is limited. We can't operate in that part of consciousness which we are not aware of. It is operating inside us, probably making us do a lot of things that we don't know. It's something that's making our heart beat, making us alive, making us in touch with other things that are happening outside, keeping us alerts from various places, but we are not aware of it. Awareness becomes limited consciousness. Then within awareness, you are aware you are in the hall here. You're conscious there's a world outside, but your awareness is that you are here. Then the awareness gets limited by the sense perceptions of what you can actually see. So this operates, ultimately it shrinks down to only a small fraction over which you have control, and that is attention. You can move your attention wherever you like. You can't do anything else with the rest. So the only secret part of the spiritual path is how you use your attention. Attention is the most valuable gift a human being has. He can move it where it lies. We have been using attention to read books, putting attention to have conversations, putting attention to gain knowledge, putting attention on the universe. But we have never tried to put attention on ourselves. Attention has been used outside of ourselves, projected out. Now I am trying to say, let's put it back. Now, that's a little difficult, but it's possible. Because actually this should be easier than putting attention out. Because when we put attention out, we are not sure where we are putting attention. When we withdraw attention, we are sure we are putting to ourselves from where the attention is going out. It's not some new point we have to discover. It's our own self. Therefore, when we pull our attention back, that's where it is. It is different in different forms we take. Right now, we have a physical body. It looks like the physical body is more real than our attention, but it's the reverse. Attention is making this physical body. This is attention that is creating the whole system. When we are awake, awake means experiencing a physical world at a physical material level. That's called awake. When we are not awake, we are experiencing something else. So when we are awake, the notional point, where we think we are, where we believe we are, from where we act in this shell around us, is behind the eyes, in the center of the head. When we go to sleep, it descends. We sleep every night. Sleep is a pattern for survival. And therefore, the tendency to sleep in meditation is very strong. So no wonder you felt you were sleeping. I felt it too sometimes. And therefore, to keep awake sometimes, masters have come. My master's master. My master was Baba Sawan Singh, great master. His master was Baba Jaimal Singh. Baba Jaimal Singh's main complaint was to his guru that he falls asleep. He said, well, you can do many things. You can make sure something helps you not to sleep, like take a cold shower. Or what he did, he had long hair. And I have seen his hut where he lived in Punjab. And he had dug a little pit and a little hook, and he took his long hair and he tied that up during meditation. So every time he wanted to sleep, he would wake up. So people have tried. It's a common thing. It's a common problem to go to sleep while meditating. So that's why don't worry about it. It's just a question of practice. Once you start enjoying visions, enjoying things inside, then you don't sleep easily. Then you start enjoying. Then your attention remains in that experience. So just a little more practice. Any other question or comment? Yes. Tense? Yes, that also happens. Because when we start meditation, it looks like something physical. Because we're doing it in the body. Not only the body, we think the head is involved, which is physical head. That the eyes are involved. There's stress. There's some kind of a stress and tension. I should be there, not anywhere else. That's a physical reaction. But if you take it slightly differently, you say it's not a physical thing I'm going to do. I'm going to imagine something. I want to imagine that I'm sitting there. Now I want to come and sit in this body. I am moving around. I go to that imaginary body. You can make an imaginary body sit next to you and say, now I want to sit in that body. Okay, how do I feel? No tension in that body, by the way. Then you come into this body. Tension. No tension there. Why is there tension here? It's the same thing. You come here, tension will go away. Practice that. It's a useful thing to use these different kind of examples for ourselves, which takes away these problems. Ultimately, it's practice. I want to tell you a little story about practice. Because when we discuss very serious subjects like these, sometimes it's good to have a little comic relief in the middle, and stories provide that. I don't tell unnecessary stories, but I tell stories when heavy stuff comes up. Like meditation is heavy stuff for us. Let me tell you the story of a king in India. And the Maharaja of Gwalior, king of India, long way back. He had a big palace on top of a hill. And he used to go out hunting. And he was a great marksman with his bow and arrow. He had practiced so much, that bow and arrow, that he could not only straight bullseye shots he could make a target lying on the floor by shooting the arrow up, making an arc and coming right on the target. So he was great, and he was very proud of that skill that he had acquired. One day he was coming back from a hunting expedition or something, and his Maharani, the queen, was standing on the balcony of the palace. And she was wearing what many Indian queens wear, a big ornament that hangs on the head, and other ornaments also, but that big ornament with diamonds and all was shining in the sun. He said, I am going to give a surprise to my wife today. So he took his bow and arrow and shot the arrow upwards and came, and the arrow so quietly took the ornament down. The wife didn't even know. He went up and said, darling, where's that ornament you're not wearing today? She said, well, might have fallen somewhere. He said, no, look there. My arrow is with it. I took it down, I sent the arrow right up and took it down, and there it is. And she very casually said, what's the big deal? By practice one can do anything. He was so insulted by that. He said, she need not be my queen anymore. And you know, those very arbitrary dictatorial kind of kings, he called the guards, take this woman away. She never appreciated such a great skill I've shown. And she said, by practice anybody can do anything. Go and leave her in the forest. Let the animals eat her up. Like some of the old stories we hear in fairy tales. But that was real. They took the queen away and left in the forest. There were wild animals there. There was an elephant, a she-elephant. A female elephant was giving birth to a little baby. And when she gave birth, this woman was so pleased to see a little baby coming out. And there was a little river nearby, a stream of water. She took the baby elephant and put it on the stream and give it a bath and played with it like this. She was playing with and jumping the baby up and down, and then went and put the baby elephant on the feet of the mother elephant. Every day she would do that. The mother elephant felt very pleased. From her eyes you could see, from the flapping of her ears, she was very pleased that there is somebody has come into this forest, very different kind of species than us, and is taking care of my baby. Every day, she said, the baby elephant began going bigger and bigger. But since she was doing it every day, she didn't feel it. Ultimately, the baby elephant became big elephant. She was still doing like this. One day, a troop of entertainers was walking about in the forest, and were shocked to see a woman picking up an elephant. They came to her and they said, "How are you doing this?" "Oh, it's my baby. The mother died, I take care of the baby. I play with the baby every day. I've been playing with the baby since it was born." "How can you lift such a big baby?" He said, "I don't know. I was lifting every day. My muscles have grown along with the baby." He said, "Come, leave this forest. Come with us and we'll arrange shows and you'll make a lot of money and we'll also make a lot of money. Nobody has seen this." They took the lady, they costumed her, they did care for her, and she went and began to perform, lifting an elephant, which she was doing anyway. The king heard about it, that there is a woman who can lift an elephant. And he said, "Have the show in my palace." And the show was organized in the lawns of his palace. And the woman comes and lifts the elephant up. The king was amazed. He took a lot of cash, jewelry, and went and said, "You have amazed me. I want to give this as a gift." She said, "What's the big deal? By practice one can do anything." He said, "This must be my queen." And took her back and made her the queen. The story is only that by practice you can do anything. That is true. By practice you can do such amazing things. And meditation is all done by practice. The more you practice, the better you get, the more skillful you get. Of course, if you are not doing correctly, if you are doing it slightly erroneously, and you keep on practicing the error, you remain in error. So you have to learn where you go wrong. To learn where you go wrong, you must go to somebody who knows how to do it right. And must learn that, do I make a correction now? And the person who has successfully done it will tell you, "Yes, this is wrong. Make this correction and you will move forward." We don't do that. We learn how to meditate. We have little error in that. And we keep on meditating with the error. We are not practicing meditation, we are practicing the error. And that's why then we get stuck and nothing happens. But who do we go to? We can go to anybody who has done that just a little more than us. It could be our own master. It could be somebody, another colleague of ours on the same path who has gone a little ahead of us, who can tell us, "Yes, this is better to do it this way." So long as we keep on learning and practicing, we can get anything. We will do some more practice tomorrow and go into deeper meditation. We'll also learn how we can control thoughts, which don't let us stay there. Even if for a moment we can be there, like he said, but they are drawn out by thought. How to handle that. Also we'll learn how to do listening to your own self. Because the listening mechanism in consciousness is built into the soul itself, to the self. The speaking element is built into the mind. The mind is an accessory posted with us, inside us. We have 3-4 things. Soul is individuated consciousness. It is participating in the total. And it is functioning as if it is individuated. Then it's pure consciousness. Consciousness means the ability to create and experience any kind of experience anytime. That's consciousness. Then there is a mind attached to it. The mind we call a causal body. All things are caused from there. When we use that mind, we cause everything to happen. Nothing happens without it. The mind functions only in time and space and only believes in cause and effect. And therefore, it creates, by this very nature of the mind, law of karma, cause and effect, and in time and space. So that is attached to us. We have the advantage of having experiences in time and space, like we are having, through that little instrument we have. We also have the experience of its function of thinking. It thinks, reasons, applies logic. That's the mind's function. So we can use the mind for doing that. We can think with it. We can talk to this. We can communicate with people. We can read books. We can get external knowledge through the mind because that's its function. But the mind functions by thinking in speech that we have learned externally and therefore speaks in language. Most of our thoughts are in words. And those words have been learned outside. But we have trained the mind to pick them up It's like an input into the computer, and now it's providing the output through the processor built into it. Thinking is a processing function of the mind. So when the mind functions, it's very useful for us to communicate, to think about whatever we want to think about. But we don't do that properly. We don't tell the mind what to think. We allow the mind to think what it likes and tell us what to do. And that's where we put the cart before the horse. That instead of using it's such a good instrument, meant for our service, meant to be useful to us, we are using it to tell us what to do. We should be telling the mind what to do. And this reversal can take place when you come to know the real nature of the mind by going through meditation. The whole system changes. The mind will never tell you what to do. You will tell the mind what to do. You will tell the mind, implement this decision of mine. Decision will be taken intuitively, without space and time, through the soul. And mind, through its functioning, through speech and all that, will implement it in this world. So the mind is doing that function. Then we have another attachment outside the mind. We call the astral body. It's actually no body. It's the sense perceptions. The power to split perception. The mind perceives directly everything. But the senses split it. It makes seeing different from hearing, different from touching, different from all sense perceptions. So dividing it widens the scope of experience. And that's what we are having now. So the mind, in combination with the astral self or the sensory self, expands its experience. Then we wrap it all up in a physical body, and we, through the physical body, shutting this off into our head, we create a physical world and a physical experience outside. That's how it's all functioning. Now, because it's functioning in this particular form, we reverse the process also in the same way. And we reverse it by going back to that. And the mind, because it is performing a function of thinking, when we reverse it and go to that part, the mind thinks of other things which have been attached to, which desires and attaches. So the real secret of finding out why is the mind running out? Why I want the mind to just stay here? Why is it running out? It's running out because of attachments. Most of the attachments have created more desire and more attachments. So desire and attachment for external experiences makes the mind run away. So we then bring it back over there, absorb the mind in inner experience. So it gets slowly attached to the inner experience. Then it doesn't run out anymore. These are all control mechanisms that we use in our meditation. So I will be able to share some of this with you when we have more time tomorrow. And I hope that it will all prove useful to you. Because I know so many of you are interested so deeply in this and are real seekers. I can notice real seekers. So I hope my experience, sharing my experience will help you to some extent. Because I don't talk of anything unless I have tested it out. I must tell you that. I don't believe in anything that I cannot personally experience. Somebody says something is happening, good for you. It's not happening for me. I can only share what is happening for me. So that's why I don't rely too much on books. If I read a book and it makes sense to me from my experience, I'll read it. I'll tell you read it. Because I have a verification of what the book is saying. Unfortunately, sometimes books have become more important for us than our own experience. I can't imagine how we fell into that one. That the religions that came up said that the holy scriptures are more real than our own experience and our own thinking. How can that be? How can a book override our own experience? We are willing to accept the books read in the book, therefore it's true. Did you have that experience, what you read in the book? No. What kind of belief system is that? Books tell you, describe things. Unless you go there, practice there, you don't get any benefit. I can read a book on Hawaiian paradise, the Waikiki beach, beautiful beach. Go there, and I read the book every day. You know, so wonderful. I've been to Waikiki beach. You never went there. Oh, I've read the book. No, the book only says what you can see. But I read the book 100 times. How does that make you have a better trip to Waikiki if you read the book 100 times? No, I have got a time schedule. What flights go there? Okay, very good. Did you fly? No, but I read the flights every day, 3 times a day. You know, we are doing exactly that with our scriptures. We think reading the scriptures is leading somewhere. Unless we follow what the scriptures are saying. Scriptures are saying, go within and find out. Look at all the scriptures. Bring them to me. Not one scripture anywhere has said, reading the scripture will lead you anywhere. Not one. The whole community, I am a Saidari Sikh by birth, and Sikh community is believing Guru Granth Sahib is a guru. No other guru can be there. I read the Granth Sahib several times myself to see where does it say this. This is the Granth about 10 gurus, composed by 5th Guru. He composed, put all these writings together. And all the gurus, all 10, had human gurus, human beings as gurus. Nowhere in the Granth is it said that the Granth is a guru. Nowhere. Some Bhai, a reciter, chanter, much later after 10th Guru, adds a phrase, Guru Manyo Granth, accept the Guru as a Granth. And the whole religion begins to accept it. How can we be more deluded than that? Same thing elsewhere. Christian Bible. I read every issue of the Bible. I read the original one also. And the Bible has been changed so many times. I read the history of the Bible. In the 7th century, the Ecumenical Council changed so much of the Bible, threw out some Gospels altogether, put in new Gospels. Today we say it's the Word of God. I looked up in the Columbia English Dictionary, what does word mean? The curiosity came to me because St. John says in the opening paragraph of his Gospel, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, a Word was God. Naturally, everybody's curious what kind of word can be God, unless you have read the Vedas. In Indian scripture, Rig Veda, if you have read Rig Veda, the Rig Veda says, initially nothing was there but the Nard, and the Nard created the Creator, and the Creator created everything else. Almost a translation of St. John's Gospel, or rather, John's Gospel being a translation of the Vedas which were printed earlier. What are they talking about? Sound and word and this thing can be God, Creator? Naturally, I had to see the dictionary. I opened the Columbian Dictionary. Word with W capital means the Bible. You can see it in the dictionary. How can we delude ourselves to such an extent that records containing methods for finding the truth within ourselves should be treated as our teachers and go no more? That the recitation and repetition of what we are reading should lead to salvation. It is never done. If you try to believe these things, that's all blind belief. Then you can't expect that there will be miraculous revelations of who you are and what our true home is and what we are talking about. Then you're confined to something so external and something so binding. It's like you become slaves to external words. So that is why I say, read these books. I have read as many as I could after I came to this country. I read everything. I went to study in Harvard University. I spent a lot of time in reading all the religious scriptures, history of religions. I spent so much time there that eventually they offered me a chair to come and join the university chair of religion, comparative religion. I declined because I was in a government job in India. But anyway, I'm only telling you, after all that I see, that we are still relying on scriptures to be the truth. Scriptures describe the truth. Scriptures tell us what the truth is. You have to follow what they are saying. And they are giving instructions. We think reading those instructions is like getting salvation. Sorry, that doesn't happen. One of my ideas was to see in comparative religion, there must be something common in all the religions. And I tried very hard to find. I said, at least they will say love is common or something. No, some religion didn't believe in that. So I said, maybe all of them are describing the meditational techniques. No, they are not. One thing I found was common in all religions and all scriptures. Each one said, ours is the only correct one. Our master is the only correct master. All others are heathens and freaks. That's the only common thing. So you can see how the mind can delude us to such an extent. Anyway, I'm glad that we could review these things objectively, sitting at a different point of view and seeing, let's see what is real. Not just have blind faith because we've grown up in a religion, we've been brought up in a religion. Let's see what the religion is saying and practice it. Anybody comes to me I have never asked anybody to change religion. You study your own religion and go within. Then you will leave religion behind and you will go within. How will you leave religion behind? Because religion, to the most part, as it grows, depends more and more on external rituals and ceremonies than on the real message. They go to so many external religions, external ceremonies, do this, do that. There's so many do's and don'ts externally that people think that's the religion. There are evangelists, I know, must be in Canada also, but the United States has a lot of them. They come on TV. Send me $25 and I'll pray for you. Why can't you pray yourself? Why would I waste $25 for somebody else to pray for me? They're willing to do everything like this, all selling it. A girl sent me yesterday, just I opened up the email today and saw, a girl says that they are selling Akashic records now. That where destiny is written, $400. We'll tell you your Akashic records, another $800 will change them. How funny it looks like this. And yet it's a growing business. People are making money out of this system. I can tell you, perfect living masters, at least one thing you can be sure, they will not make money out of you. They don't come to share their information and knowledge for any money. They work like we work. They earn their living like anybody else. And they share their information freely. Of course, if they get donations, they use them for the purpose of sharing this information, not for themselves. Every master that I know, perfect living master, they're not a business. But Gurudom has become a business today. That you can have as many gurus as you like. My master, many years ago, 60 years ago, used to say that there are more gurus today than disciples. So we have to find a good disciple nowadays. The gurus have to find disciples too. So I am only sharing these things to you because it's a very practical thing. You have to discover for yourself within yourself. It's not somebody else. The perfect living master also, who's inside us, tells us a little exercise to go and meet him. Let's do that part at least. Then we leave the rest to him. He used to say, great master used to say, I am waiting at a railroad station, at a railway station. You come, I've got the tickets ready for you and me. We'll travel together from there. Just take the trouble of coming to the railway station. The railway station is behind our eyes, all of us. I hope we will all try and go to the railway station and meet the one who is going to be permanent friend and take us back home. It will be a very sweet journey. And I am not saying from any books, I can tell you. It's aap biti, not something I've heard. So that's why I share these things with you. So I hope we'll have more time tomorrow to practice and any more questions. And those who have any personal questions, if you haven't given your name already to Manjeet, there is Manjeet. There he is at the back. You can see him. If you haven't given your name and you still want to have a one-on-one conversation for a few minutes, please give him your name. He'll put you on the list. And the list is prioritized. You see, we also have some organizational experience. I went to Harvard Business School. The prioritized list is that those who have never had an interview with me, names will be placed at the top. And those who have had interviews with me but are coming from long distances, the next, and the rest at the end. Sometimes we don't complete the whole list, especially at the bigger meetings we have. And there, of course, the other rule is those who are scheduled to have a one-on-one interview and don't get it because of lack of time, they are put at the top in the next list. So we have an arrangement that works fairly for everybody. We want this system of interviews and other system that we use to be transparent. Everybody should know how they work. So people say favoritism goes on. I know favoritism goes on everywhere. My favorites are those who practice and go and meet me inside every day. They are my favorites. Outside will become my favorites pretty soon if they just follow what I'm saying. It's as simple as that. So I will now wind up today's program to be able to have some interviews today, and then we'll meet tomorrow at about 11 o'clock here. Thank you very much.